Hello everyone, my name is Legend Ronnie and this game is Rise of Civilization. What this video is going to be about is the new talent system from the new update, and I'm going to guide you through it. This is basically my first insight after the update, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start with the commanders. I'm gonna do all of them, but I'm going to start in the order as I have them. As I mentioned, if I didn't mention, these are my tips and advices, so this is how I would advise you to do the commanders. Probably further more videos are gonna come up, but for now I will try to cover all the commanders so you can have a startup if you are looking for one. This can also serve you as a beginner's guide. So Charles Martel, I am really not in favor for the city defense build. Why? Because if you do the city defense build, it's going to completely demobilize that commander only to be in the city, and to build up a commander for only that specific role and to be good at it is going to take quite some resources. So I will not talk anymore about city defense, that will apply to any commanders. Infantry, full infantry path. And after that, I'm in favor of this one, the pseudo formation. If you get further more talents after this one, you can probably get more reduced damage. You can decide yourself after this, but this is a 54 commander, so he can get only like 6 more talent points, and there isn't much more you can get after this. Boudica, I personally dislike the balance build. I do not like it at all. I don't feel like there is any balance in it. What I do like is the nuka path. The nuka path is really strong, and the full jungler path, I do not advise it on any jungler. The full jungler path, I'm not really down for it. So this is how I build my Boudica. The reason I did not do the naked rage is for this particular reason, that also increase the skill damage that you take. As a nuker, you really don't have much defense, so the last thing that you want is to take even more damage. This has ups and downs. If you're not getting targeted, that 6% increased skill damage can help you a lot because she already does quite a lot of damage as a nuker. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, another 6% could help you, or it could not. I prefer to not take the chances. After that, this is the path that I chose with Boudica, Trophy Hunter, and more march speed of my troops. As I said, I'm not in favor of the full build from the jungler. Lancelot, which is my cavalry. Obviously, full cavalry. The general path sucks in general, so any general path, just try to avoid it unless you're looking for some more gathering speed. Then definitely you should do the general path. So yeah, full cavalry, and then you have options. I went in favor for mobility, because basically this can grant you a lot more march speed, so you can bounce off if something goes wrong, but you can get some permanent march speed, which you can, then you have to do this one. But if you get this one, then you might lose this one, which is pretty significant. When troops led by this commander depart from a structure, increase march speed by 60%. And if your mind goes exactly what I'm thinking about, is exactly what you've seen in some of my videos, when you keep jumping from a building to another or from a resource to another, because they basically are structures as well somehow, has to be tested as well. I haven't tested it yet, but at least in battles, jumping from a structure to another, I would say that 60% march can be more useful than a permanent 6 march. But that is the next thing when he gets more levels. Tomoe. Now, Because of her third skill, Tomoe would best serve as a secondary commander. But because I do not have any archer commander that is high enough as her, I build her as an archer commander. And then the next thing that I would advise is to get a fortress on the attack. This would be the next thing that I will do if I plan to level up Tomoe higher. As I mentioned, I'm going in the order as I have them, but I will talk about all of them. Minamoto. Now this is very tricky, because people have been asking me about Minamoto. Now I will explain it to you why my Minamoto looks like this right now. This is not the way I would advise you to do your Minamoto. The reason my one is like this is because I do not plan to get him to 5-star. If you did not know, in order to obtain one of these bonuses, like the last bonus from every tree, you need a 5-star commander. So that is the main problem. So in order for me to max out the full nuke path on Minamoto, I should get him to 5-star, and I do not plan to do that particular investment right now in my Minamoto. But if your Minamoto is 5-star, or you plan to get your Minamoto to 5-star, I would strongly recommend the nuke path. If you have enough cavalry to do a full cavalry setup, then obviously you should do the full cavalry setup, but we all know it's not that easy to do a full cavalry group. So if you cannot do a full cavalry group, then you can choose the nuke path. So I hope this makes myself clear. If you have enough for the cavalry, then you should definitely do the cavalry path. If you don't, you do the nuke path. If you do the cavalry path and you still have some extra points, you should definitely go to get more rage, because that will help you a lot, and enhance additional skill damage on your way to rejuvenate. Scipio. Now Scipio is the first time that we see this siege path. Personally, I do not like the siege path. You can read yourself what it does. The only two good things that are on the siege path is the moment of triumph and this particular skill, which I cannot spell. So these are the only two skills that I like on the siege, for only that reason, for sieging. The reason I'm saying that is because the leader kind of counters the siege path. What I'm trying to say by that is kind of give you the same things, give or take. So for Scipio, I strongly recommend the leader path. And look at this. For example, buff. When this commander launches a rally attack, it's obviously going to be 5%, and you get this buff, increased damage dealt to garrison by another 6%. So siege 1, you can only use it on siege. The leader, you can use it everywhere. So it's kind of the same thing in the end if you put them all in balance. So that's why I personally prefer the leader path. And after that, I would go for the attack one and try to get a fortress. That would be the second thing. But if you plan to use your Scipio for siege, I would go the leader path, and the second path would be moment of triumph and this one. If you plan to use him or on siege or on a lot of siege. This one will be very good if you have troops next to your rally, so you can keep reinforce the rally, so you can keep him over the 90% strength. That will give you a lot of bonus. That's what it says over there. And if the rally is obviously over 90%, voila. Now Richard I. Richard I is the same as Charles Martel, full infantry, and then I would suggest you to get the Tesudo formation. So do the full infantry path, then get the Tesudo formation. If you actually plan to keep a commander as a city defender, then you're going to be your own choice. But me personally, I find Richard I to be probably one of the best city defenders. Because when you maxed out his second skill, he can do a passive 15% damage taken reduction. It was not showing before. We all know that he was not showing this before, that he is a city defender as well. And he can reduce damage of your enemy. So he can be one of the best city defenders if you actually plan to do one of your commanders with the city defender talents. But as I mentioned, if you're doing that, you will be pinned down a commander mostly only for city defending. And you will be very, very careful for that commander to be in your city for defense. I will say that you get plenty of defense and bonuses if you do the infantry path and if you do the defense path up to the pseudo formation. Joan of Arc. Look at her, so purple and shiny. So Joan of Arc is a gatherer, support and balance. As I mentioned, balance is horrible in general. Now, if you actually plan to use her as a support, and what does mean by support does not necessarily mean by second in command. If you want to use her as a support, would be as a main commander. That's correct. Support main commander. Why? Because her first skill does group support to your allies. So you use her as a main commander, you use Cleopatra as a second in command because Cleopatra does the same thing. So both of them, they do group support to your allies or to your other groups. So if you want to use them as a support, then you definitely need to get Rejuvenate. So you can get 150 rage whenever you use your skill, and then when you heal your troops, they get some other bonuses. After that is entirely up to you. You can do the fresh recruit to get more troops into the group, and then obviously to get some defense on your troops. If you're going to have mixture, and you're probably going to have mixture with this particular setup. Now my Joan of Arc is going to be a gatherer, and I plan to use her as a gatherer, and I do not obtain the more the better, which grants you another 6% resources. You need a level 27 commander. These are not really needed. You can skip these ones. They are not entirely needed. But if you manage to reach a level 30 commander, for example, this is slightly wrong what I've done over here. You benefit a lot more if you increase the march speed of your siege units. So if I reset her right now, I can take off those 3. I can put 1 here and another 2 here, and there you go. My siege is going to have 20% more march speed. So Sarka is going to be the best proof as a gatherer, as that is the only way I would use her as a gathering commander. So as a level 27 gathering commander, this is how it should look. And then, as I mentioned, if you get 3 more, you just put 1 here and another 2 more here, and you get 20% more march speed on your siege, so they will travel faster to gather and from gathering. As I mentioned, Hermann. Now, as I mentioned about the city defender already, you're just going to pin down your commander. If you have enough archers to do a full archer group, and that will be quite a significant amount of archers, then you should choose the archer path. If you do not have that amount of archers, then you should choose the nuker path. Once you fill up the nuker path, you can go on this side to gain more rage, and then you can go on the arrow rocket so you can get more attack when you get less troops. Or you can go on the Scorpion and you can get more skill damage if you have that amount of talent points left. So nuker and the path of the Scorpion for more damage. If you do not have enough talents for that, then you can obviously do the razor sharp and the arrow rocket. So these are the 2 ways or 3 ways that you can do your Hermann. Cleopatra. As I mentioned, Cleopatra, for me, she is a gatherer and she always going to be a gatherer, and she still needs levels, so I can get this one, the more the better. And it does make a difference. You get a slightly more resources. It's not something crazy, so do not make those hopes that is like, wow, a lot of resources. It's like 10-20,000 more resources, but on the long run they're gonna add up. If you plan to use her as a support, as I mentioned on Joan of Arc, but if you use her as a support, that means she's going to be the main commander, and the best way you can use her would be with Joan of Arc and make a full support group. So that way you need the rejuvenate, you're going to need the counter attack, and after that, from the balance, you're going to need the fresh recruit, armor to the teeth, and if you do have more points, then you can do some more of that from the other side to get more attack with your troops. But these are the first thing that you need, is rejuvenate and counter attack. This is only for PvP, Cage of Thorns. This is only for PvP support. So if you want to use her for PvP support or Joan of Arc, then you definitely need Cage of Thorns. But I don't really find it that really needed. Gaius Marius. Now Gaius Marius is again a gatherer, and I only use him for gathering, and I still need talent points for him to get the more the better. But for his level, this is how he looks like. I still need 2, 3, 6 more levels on him so I can unlock more resources. Centurion, he is a gatherer as well, so these are his talents. He's good for gathering. Julius Caesar. Now, as I mentioned on the other ones, I am in favor of the leader path, not the siege one. But if you plan to use your Julius Caesar for siege, and if you do that, it's a very good choice. You should do the leader path, and then you should have the moment of triumph and this one. If you do not plan to use your Julius Caesar for siege, then you should get a fortress, and if you still have talent points, you should get martial mastery. As I said, I'm not in favor of the full siege path, I'm more in favor of the leader path. Only if you want to use him for siege, get these two: attack, a fortress, and martial mastery. If you do not plan to siege, only go on attack. Constance, she is a gatherer. These are her talents as a level 17 gatherer. These are her talents. I skipped the gold one, but the path is to get the more the better. As I mentioned, for Markswoman, if you actually plan to level up your Markswoman, only a full archers out the device to use her, so make sure you have archers to use her for full archers. If you want to use her for barbarians, that is a waste of experience. So putting her on jungle path to use her for barbarians, that is a waste of experience. You better kill those barbarians with some other commanders that will benefit a lot more. Nuker path would also be very useless for her, because all her skills, they are archers oriented. So if you actually have Markswoman or plan to use her full archer path and then try to get, not sure if rejuvenate is going to help you to get more rage, but it's probably going to help your second commander if you have a good second commander. Sun Tzu. Now, Sun Tzu here, it says an infantry commander. I'm not really down with that for now. What I would advise Sun Tzu is definitely nuker. An maxed out Sun Tzu with expertise on a full nuker path, I'll be scared of what he can do personally. So I would definitely advise nuker path on Sun Tzu. Once you've done the nuker path, then you can basically go on infantry, and there is one, definitely is one with the rage. Exactly, normal attack grants additional rage, so you can get more rage. Gives normal attack to reduce target march speed, so obviously you can use the snare thorns if you get more talent points. Kusunoki. Now, how do I advise Kusunoki? Well, first of all, I would advise you for archers, if you have enough archers, definitely go full archer path, unlock that one first. If you have enough archers to get with him in the group. If you do not have enough archers to get with him in the group, then definitely go for the nuker path and unlock the nuker path. After that, the next talent points should be towards the scorpion to unlock that skill. Pelagius. Now, I would advise Pelagius as a cavalry commander, but if you do not have enough troops, enough cavalry to build a full cavalry setup, then definitely he is a very good nuker, so you can definitely go and do the full nuker path. And obviously the second part that I would advise you to get is disarm, because on the same way you get the Undying Fury, which grants you more rage, and you get the disarm part, which is going to reduce the attack of enemy, and that should help you into the battle, or at least help your friends if the enemy troops is going to do less damage. So these are the two ways you can do Pelagius. Hannibal Barca. Talents. Now again, you can see that he has siege. Well, I would avoid the siege path, as I mentioned. I would do the leader path on Hannibal Barca. If you plan to use him on siege, then I would go for moment of truth after I do the leader path and this particular buff. So leader path and then these two. If you do not plan to siege him and you plan to use him for battles, first you do the leader path and then you get a fortress and martial mastery if you still have that many talents left. Seong-Gye, you should definitely not think of Seong-Gye as a city defender. He is one of the best nukers, if not the best nukers into the game. So I would personally advise Seong-Gye to be on a full nuker path. So definitely get feral nature, and after that try to get the scorpion and razor sharp. This is the way I would advise Seong-Gye. I know he's an archer commander, but his skills do a tremendous amount of damage, and then it will benefit him the most if you do him on the nuker path. He can still boost the archers, so if you plan to get only archers with you, his skill will still boost the archers even if you don't have the full archer path. But he will benefit a lot more from the nuker one, because too many of his skills are oriented for nuking. Now, Cao Cao, he has a lot of nuking power, and as you're seeing, he does not have a nuking pad, which comes and goes. Personally, as a commander like Cao Cao, I would not bother with the jungle pad. Personally, I would not. What he is, the best way you can do him is for cavalry. So you do the cavalry, and then you have two options. You can go for sweetness, or you can go for permanent march speed, and you can do this one, lightning charge. I showed you that on Lancelot, because Lancelot has the same cavalry and mobility. So this is the two ways you could do Cao Cao. Cao Cao. There is nothing else I can say about him. So he's full cavalry commander, and then mobility, get some more march speed. Frederick the First. Now obviously you see that he is a siege as well, considering that he has next to zero defense or next to zero talents that boost your defense of your troops or try to protect your troops. I will not really use him for siege. If you're attacking soft targets, he can probably be the best. So if you're attacking soft targets, he can be great in siege. But if you're not, he doesn't really have that much defense for your troops. So I'm gonna leave that to you. I will not personally use him in siege. But what I advise for Frederick is definitely the leader pad, and then from the nuker pad I would advise rejuvenate. If you still have more points, well, he doesn't have active skill damage, so he could benefit a lot more if you do some rally bonus, if you plan to rally with him. So leader pad and the nuker pad get rejuvenate with your boy Frederick the First. If you plan to use him for siege, I already mentioned on the other ones which is the pad that I would advise. Eulji Moondog. Now the way I advise Eulji Moondog is probably the only way you can use him is on full infantry, and then obviously get effortless, and if you have furthermore you get martial mastery. As I mentioned, I'm not really in favor of city defense. You get defensive bonuses from infantry. I would say that is more than enough to defend your city. If you want to pin down a commander for particular just city defense, it's going to be your choice. I don't find it that useful. So infantry, full infantry, and effortless. Then martial mastery is the only way you can do your Eulji Moondog. El Cid. Now, I do not recommend El Cid as an archer master. He's not really an archer mastery, but he has it. The general one completely sucks. So obviously your only option with El Cid is the nuker pad, full nuker pad, and after that focus on the scorpion pad to get more skill damage with your El Cid. Lohar. Now Lohar is a bit of delicate, and why is that? I'm going to explain to you. Now the only way I would use my Lohar is for jungle. Now the logical choice would be to go full jungler, but I'm not, because I'm not in favor of the full jungler pad. So this is how I would do my Lohar. Obviously, being a jungler, the first thing you want to do is get Trophy Hunter and this particular buff. After that, so after you get these two buffs, I would go for Rejuvenate, and then I would go for Counter Attack. After that, if you still have talent points, I would go for Fresh Recruits, and I will go for Armor to the Teeth. So that's how I would do my Lohar. Spread in all three. That would be the only way that I could personally find Lohar to be useful. It depends how many talent points or how far or how deep have you gone in your Lohar. But this is the way that I would do him. Trophy Hunter, Rejuvenate, Counter Attack, Fresh Recruit, and then if you still have talents, get Armed to the Teeth. City Keeper. Now the City Keeper has no defense talents. I tell you the honest truth, if City Keeper would have had a defense talent pad, I would have think about leveling him up. A city defense talent pad. But he does not have it, so he's completely useless. I would not use City Keeper the way he is right now in any way. That's I have to say. If he had a City Keeper, then I would have think about making a full defense commander just to try it out. But he's not. Dragon Lancer. Now if you're free to play and you use Dragon Lancer, you're probably doing a very good thing because you have a lot of march speed and other cavalry bonuses. Obviously the most logical choice and your only choice is full cavalry with your Dragon Lancer, and after that you have mobility, so you have options to go for swiftness, so that means you can bounce off from the battlefield faster, or you can go for permanent march speed, which is the lightning charge. So I believe that would be all. I think I covered all the commanders. Again, this is the first insight of the update, so if you have further and more questions, you can always leave comment in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer you. There's going to be plenty of live streaming as well, and I'll answer your questions. So until next time, your boy Legend Ronnie signing out. Peace out, yo.